Greetings and salutations, Earthlings. Zube here. I am coming to you from New Jersey. I'm staying with family, and you'll have to pardon my really bright light and all that. I'm with Michelle, and we are doing our moon jam for the Aries new moon. The Aries new moon is going to take place on April 1st at 1:24 a.m. Central Time. So you're going to want to adjust that. If you are Pacific time, it will actually be on March 31st. And it will be happening at 11 degrees. Actually, they usually round up, but so 11, 12 degrees of Aries, the sun and the moon will be meeting up. Michelle and I have a few of these under our belt now. So I'm going to let Michelle, if you're here for the first time, introduce herself. And we were chatting about the importance of these new moon and full moon rituals that we talk about. And this is also significant because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. And so it's important. This is like the zodiacal new year has begun, right? Yeah. And so I'm going to let Michelle introduce herself, and then we're going to talk a little bit about like the plants, and then I'm going to talk about the chart and what the astrology is doing. So I'm going to stop sharing right now, actually, and let you go.
Thank you so much. And hi, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Michelle Rodriguez, and I run a small company called Herba Buena. And what we do is we focus on rituals for new and full moon. We help with creating rituals, personalized rituals, as well as getting into the herbs that are kind of around the area that can help your body kind of adjust to what's going on. And yeah, new moons and full moons are really important times to kind of center yourself back into what it is that you need grounding or what you need to work on. It's kind of like your reset or your kind of new year, if you will, right? For the month. Okay, what am I going to work on for this month? Just so that you can really maintain a good, strong, grounding presence. You don't want to get off too high, in dreamland, but you also don't want to be so down in focusing on the tiny details that you're not able to take a big breath and move forward, have that momentum that you kind of need to take the next steps that are necessary. So these new moon and full moon rituals and insights help us better understand what the evolution is going on inside of ourselves, inside of our spirit. How are we evolving? How are we moving forward? What are we needing to key in on at this moment, at this time? What do we need to let go of? So coming back to center is always a very important time for us to find and I guess honor ourselves in our journey that we're going through. So I'm so excited to be here with you. So
yeah. And the ritual itself doesn't have to be elaborate, or it's the intention behind it, and it's the physical act of doing a ritual, because it's kinesthetic, like I know when I went to school to learn about teaching kids, there are kinesthetic learners. Well, like our bodies feel these things that we do, and it directs that energy and just gives us more authority is not the word I'm looking for, but like more direction. It aims things.
Right. It gives us more autonomy for what it is that we need to kind of focus. So we talk about kind of muscle memory, right? So muscles have a tendency to hold on to things that were reflexes, right? Things that we needed to do on a regular basis. The same thing happens for our energetic self. That is the muscle that we're working on right there. Yeah. That is the spirit that we're trying to connect with, because as we run around doing our daily things, we might not think that they have a connection or a vibration with the spirit or with the soul that is here with us, but it really does. And to have us be more mindful of that and take more of an active presence in that requires us to slow down a bit. And it's very difficult sometimes for us to give ourselves permission to slow down. But that's what we need to do, because in slowing down, we refocus, we reevaluate, and then we make a better game plan. And that's why I like to see these kind of full moon and new moon, is because it provides us with the ability to get a game plan going
Yes.
for what it is that's coming up. So,
And it's perfect because it's I like it because it's being intentional for like 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And I am inclined towards disorganized. So this really organizes me. And then actually that brings me to, I'm going to bring up the chart, what we were talking about as well. So for this new moon, what would be helpful for you to do is figure out where 12 degrees of Aries is in your natal chart, in your birth chart, because there is a house that is associated with this new moon for you, and that is where it would be helpful to direct your energy, right? I am an astrologer, so I can provide a reading for you. There's information for Michelle and myself below. But you can also go to like astro.com or Cafe Astrology, where you can enter your birth information and it will show you a chart, right? They also have explanations for being able to read it and all of that. But knowing the house that this new moon is going to happen in for you is helpful, because that gives you even a more nuanced view of the area of your life this is going to be affecting, right? So to go over quickly, we've got the moon, the sun and the moon right here in Aries at 11 degrees and like 31 minutes, which is usually rounded up to like 12 degrees, but it's in that area of Aries. And we've also got Mercury over here. So Mercury is joining these guys, as well as Chiron. I know, it's like they're almost on top of Chiron. So yeah, it's a very healing energy. Chiron is the wounded healer. And so that is the parts of us that we attempt to heal in other people. And we might even successfully heal it in other people, but we may forget to come back to ourselves and heal that wound, right? So I feel like it's really significant. We're in Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac. We've got a new moon, which is like new beginnings, and it's lined up with Chiron. And so we're looking at healing ourselves. We have Mercury over here. Mercury is our mind. Oh wait, Mercury is actually in Aries. I just said Mercury was in Pisces, but it moved. Yeah, because that's for Friday. So we've got Mercury with them. That's our mind. And our communication, the way that we talk. So we are not only with Chiron, which is the wound, we're healing ourselves. We're also really like working on our minds right now at the moment. And what I kind of love about this moon is that nobody is messing with it. Look, there aren't any like of the aspects that are going to the new moon. So it's kind of over here to like be in its own energy, just the sun, the moon, the sun, which is our heart, that's our, our soul, the moon, which is our reactions, our emotions, our inner life, Mercury, which is our mind, and then Chiron, which is the wounded healer. So those guys are on their own. The new moon is in Aries, and so it's ruled by Mars. Mars is over here and it is creeping up on joining Saturn. So, yeah. And this is squaring. There's a big square over here going on between the north and south nodes. Now, to not go into too much detail, basically Mars coming towards Saturn. That's our warrior energy, right? And Saturn is structures and blockages and authority rules, things that are getting in the way. So the nodes of the moon are where we're coming from and where we are headed. So this is a real pivot point where we're going to be like knocking down the structures in our lives that aren't working, that need to get that we need to get rid of. And what I was saying is this to me felt like kind of a rumble underground, and this new moon is the perfect opportunity for us to set intentions and throw some energy towards the direction that rumble is going to take, rather than reacting to things after they topple. It's, intending for what things we want to let fall away, and also empowering ourselves, because we're going to have to stand there and sort of, as things crumble, be grounded. And I feel like that's kind of where it's a perfect segue into what you're talking about. Did you have anything to add on the astrology, or should I drop the chart?
No, I think just for like a quick minute, when we're looking at that chart, I think when I look at these, because I'm still kind of starting out, like learning new things, and I love hitting the chart with you, because when I go over it, I'm like, man, that makes a lot of sense. And I say that knowing what house you're in and what house the new moon or the full moon are kind of touching for you, it helps to get a little bit of clarity, especially when you're trying to unravel certain things like roles that you want to keep. My role as a mom, my role as a daughter, my role as a sister, my role as a friend, my role as a small business owner. So those types of roles maybe are things that you're trying to evolve, right? You're trying to reestablish. Aries is a super important time because it is the first sign of the zodiac, but it's also trying to set pace, because for a while we've been saying everything is direct. It wants to set a certain pace. And in that, Aries can kind of seem to a lot of other individuals just kind of looking at it from a very obtuse, picture screen. It's very destructive. It's very just kind of intense, right? If you think about the mythology behind that, it's just all the messy parts of stuff, right? Of destruction. But there is a beauty in deconstructing certain things. There is a beauty in removing the weights of certain things, so that way the spirit can really soar, which that rides that trajectory for a good long while. I mean, that passion there can help motivate, but it has to have direction. And this month, there's a lot of wind, and that's we're looking at wind, fire, all of that. That is sometimes something that you have to figure out how you're going to hold on to it. You can't really catch the wind and keep it there, but you can listen to it. You can slow down and listen to it, right? You can see whether it's coming at you for your face, or if it's helping move you forward from behind. There's a pace in which you have to keep, but it's your pace. So that's the key in that you have to find. That's where that grounding comes in. That's where that wounded healer of, hey, I'm going to get down to the playing aspects of what brings me comfort, what brings me peace, what brings me balance. Okay, we had talked about that before, finding your balance. This is where we really need to key in and hone in on that. The other thing that when we're looking at Mercury is there are a lot of intense sort of aspects when you think of these rough and tumble sort of conversations that come at you, right? Or communications that come at you, and take it for what it is and not so personal, if that kind of makes any sense.
Yeah.
When I say don't take it personal, it doesn't mean it's not going to hurt, right? Sometimes it
Mhm.
doesn't mean it's not going to catch you off guard and be like, wait a minute. But I'm asking at this point, because it's very passion filled,
Mhm.
to find that grounding point. Because if it is a role, if it is something that you found yourself back into, right? A relationship or a boundary that's been crossed, I want you to be able to stand in the
Mhm.
ability to honor what it is for that boundary and say, yeah, that really sucked, but I'm going to draw it again. Okay. I'm going to
Yep.
draw that boundary again. Because it really is going to set pace. It is going to temper you, just like you said, when it's rumbling underneath.
Mhm.
How strong is that foundation that you have? And it's never always going to be perfect, right? There's always going to be some cracks.
Oh
Old
yeah.
houses settle and they get comfortable, and sometimes you got to go in and put new beams in, but that's okay. But this is especially the time right now where you will find yourself, as you're seeing everything looks in the chart as cool as a cucumber for certain things.
Mhm.
But when you really take a bigger look at the whole picture, you got to make sure that your heart, right?
Mhm.
Your emotions, that they're balanced, that they're in check, that Chiron's able to come in and that wounded part of you is able to find those pieces that need to heal. And you are working on that healing, not getting
Mhm.
caught up with other things.
Yes. And well, and that was something else too. I was kind of thinking like all of these planets over here working on the mind, working on the healing. Um, they're not being especially messed with by anybody. And it's like, it's almost like structures and things are going to fall, or your head and your heart, they need to be okay. You know what I mean? And finding that observational ability to make sure that you're all right and that you don't crumble without, or that we don't crumble as other things might be like banging around out there.
Right, right. And if it's okay if when things are banging around that you feel that there's certain things
Mhm.
in you that are crumbling, and
Mhm.
it sucks,
Yeah.
right? It really sucks. It hurts. It's
Mhm.
not the best, but understand that in that crumbling, that there are still things that you're building
Mhm.
back together.
Mhm.
Sometimes certain realities have to fall away. Sometimes you have to go back into a similar situation so that way you can be reminded that that's not where your stability lies.
Right.
Sometimes the need to be understood is that you are understanding yourself. So that's where this season is really important.
That's so funny that anyway, just the synchronicity for me on a personal note is St. Francis came to me. It came to me today during my meditation, and the to understand rather than to be understood. But in my case, it was like, you know what, I'm gonna focus on understanding me, and other people can focus on understanding them right now, because I was feeling really misunderstood. And I was like, well, hold on, let me just understand myself. Anyway, that was like the focus of my meditation.
Yes, yeah, because and that in as well, on a personal note, what I've been taking a look at, um for me, it's the wind. It keeps moving, and it keeps moving
Mhm.
kind of everything, right? And I've got a bunch of little sprouts that I'm planting and I'm getting ready to put it in the garden, but nothing is telling me right now that I really need to disturb that. Because the tools that I'm using, so funny, the tools that I'm using, I like to keep them for a long time, right? And some of them
Uh-huh.
kind of snapped, and I'm going, okay, so you need to find yourself some new tools. What do you have and what has not been working? So the tools for me are what I'm trying to kind of find that resonate, what really work. And oh my goodness. So my dogs have been in the yard and they've just been digging the holes for me. And for me, it has kind of touched a bit more about that community aspect of I don't have to do it all by myself,
Mhm.
you know,
No.
and I've got others that are really feeling that motion and that momentum that I'm feeling as well inside of me to, hey, this is what we need to do. And to be able to create together, right? This space that is going to, we're all living in it, right? We're all working it together. For me, it was just a great reminder of, oh, this is how we're going to start the season. Okay.
Right.
All right. I don't have to dig the holes now. Awesome. I don't have to pull this stuff out. Awesome. So, yeah, it was a great reminder for me that, they're in on it too. Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny. All right, I'm going to point out one more thing. I totally forgot. Jupiter is coming up on a conjunction with Neptune. So our dream, we are having a lot of dreams, and those are helping. This is a helpful aspect. Those are helping us get from where we're coming from to where we're going. And this Mars and Saturn are kind of creating bumps that are useful. It's all useful,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
These just might feel more difficult. But your dreams will and your intuition will help get you there. So that's what I
If you
wanted
don't
to,
have any, yeah, if you don't have any labradorite, grab you some labradorite. If you don't have
yeah.
any of that, you can grab some mugwort. That'll help you too. Put it like underneath your pillow. Have a smoky quartz handy to kind of dispel and disrupt any of that negativity that kind of is pulled in, or that I guess heaviness maybe that you're trying to move, that it'll go ahead and kind of transmute that as well. If you want to have some selenite, that always helps, or some clear quartz. And when in doubt, you need some obsidian, right? To cut anything that you need to not continue. That kind of helps with that as well. But yeah, dream time is going to continue for those
Yeah.
who are dreamers. It's really going to give you some important messages. So if you found that you are extra sleepy, right?
Mhm.
It's because you're doing a lot of work. My abuelitos used to say, if you're finding yourself extra tired in the morning, it's because when you're in your waking time, you're thinking and worrying too much about stuff.
Oh,
So you need to be able to place things where they need to get placed and find little joys throughout the day that help, kind of lift you up and bring you up. That's what they're talking about, kind of the transmuting that energy, right? If you will,
right.
that wind, let it kind of go through. So that way, when you put your head to the pillow, and if you do have any dreams that come in, it's not going to knock you off. It's really going to allow some of your body stuff that needs to kind of get repaired, but it will allow you to understand on a subconscious level the messages that are coming to you. Because if you remember that dream in the morning, that wasn't just a dream. That
Right.
was an intentional message that you needed to receive. If it was the dream, it came and went, you probably are going to be able to get back there. But if it sticks and you remember in vivid detail, those are messages. So they're going
Absolutely.
to keep coming. And like I say, you need assistance with those rituals or those grounding, because it is super important. I would take a shout out to Teresa, take a look at your chart, where these things are hitting, so that way we can build a game plan, or you can take more initiative, right? When it's, what does it mean and how am I going to do this? Because I know people right now are on that precipice of what's going to happen next.
Right.
What am I doing? Or what is everybody doing right now? What
Yeah.
is this? But yeah, finding community and making sure that you're well grounded is something that is going to help you not only now, but when you're continuing to go through those evolutions, because it's going to happen. It
Oh
may mean
yeah. Well,
it's just
and
going
yeah, and just really quick, and we've got like maybe 10 minutes. But I did want to say super quick, because I know you're a dreamer, and I have, but I have trouble remembering them. But I've been actively working on every day, every morning. I lay in bed for a few minutes before I look at my phone or anything. And this has taken a couple months, so it does take a little bit of like dedication. But I have been remembering more and more and more of my dreams, and then I write them in my journal. And the more that I write them, it's like my subconscious goes, oh, she wants to know about this now.
right.
And I've been having dreams that I can't find a bathroom, like or that there's a bathroom and the door is too small, right? And I
Uh-huh.
was thinking about it and thinking about it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have a lot of things to purge, and I know it, and I'm staying with family. So I'm like, wow, like it really is mind blowing when you really start paying attention to it. But
Yeah,
um,
that's awesome. Yeah, and
yeah.
um there have been, not in the dream time, but in the waking time. For
Mhm.
me, it's still too early for hummingbirds, but I've seen them roosting.
Oh.
And they sit on a certain tree,
Mhm.
right when you're like where we wash dishes and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I'll pan out and I'll see these things zipping by, and they make the most beautiful songs, right?
Mhm.
But I see these things and I'm like, there is no way that colibre, that hummingbird, is coming now, because it's not even April. Well, they're here. So that means, like you had said a little bit before, like that warrior, right? That
Mhm.
kind of that spirit of is amongst us, is
Yes.
moving. Um,
Yes.
so, we have to hear that call and be aware of that call, and not shy away from answering that. There's a great movement inside a lot of us that is asking us to do more than maybe what we've ever been prepared or willing to do.
Mhm.
Um, but it's because you're never asked to do stuff when you're ready, but you're ready.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're
Yep.
ready. You're never going to step forward or have everything settled back here
Mhm.
enough to just take that step forward. So when you hear it, you have to answer it.
Yep.
You have to be willing to take that step forward. But again, we're in Aries, and the wind is gonna move you, that fire is gonna move you, that rumbling underneath. So maybe that destruction, that disruption, that unsettling is what's really calling your spirit, or your being at this time, to step forward.
Right. And and another thing with Aries, like Aries is the warrior. And it's also, sometimes I think it's helpful to like compare and contrast the different archetypes for each sign, because it's the infant. So it's the I am. That's the phrase of Aries. And so it's the infant that has no problem asking for milk, asking for, you know what I mean? Like and that's why it's kind of warrior like, because if you carry that too far, you could be like a 50-year-old who's like, I want what I want, but taking that important part of like, nourishing yourself that we were talking about. It's like an infant, like the I am, like you are God's child, a child of God, or a child of the universe, or whatever.
Yeah, I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
they are very spirited. Yes.
yes, I know. Aries squares Cancer, so I don't always get along with Aries, but actually, I always had a best friend growing up who was an Aries. That like Aries women I get along well with, which is funny. And I would cry when somebody was mean to me, and they would fight for me. It was kind of
Yeah.
funny. Yeah. They'd be like, what did you say to my friend? Doom.
Oh.
I don't know, but okay. Did you have, I'm not sure where we are.
So no, the dream thing is still in play. So I
Okay.
think that's the best thing are going to be those stones. I think the only thing right now that, if you can get your hands on some aloe, because it's wind and fire that's kind of riled up right now, your body is probably needing to intake a lot of moisture. And I say that because we're talking about water, we're talking about, again, with the whole kind of cleansing itself. But I say more with the aloe, if you can find any sort of aloe gel, because your skin, the biggest kind of organ that you have, is going to be worked overtime right now. It really is. So if you can have some aloe juice, if you can have some coconut water, if you have anything that's alkaline as far as water, that needs to help replenish that pH that you have in your body, because it's going to need it right now. But also get outside. If you can put your toes in the dirt, in the sand, anything like that, that's going to help call to that rooted place in you. Play is going to be your best friend right now, because everything is, like I say, it's kind of up here, and she, just like you said, it's childlike. Play right now is a very, very important time to play. Those are our building blocks, right? Those are our essentials. If you don't have any kids, that's okay, but kind of get back to what you did like to do when you used to play when you were a kid.
Yeah. I just got chills when you were talking about play, because, it's, I mean, I've seen videos or a documentary or something about how children will play in the most terrible circumstances. You know what I mean? So like that's that childlike, thing is learning to play, even though there's chaos, because we have to be able to experience that while we're here.
Right.
It's kids do it. You know what I mean? I think about it, and like kids were at my brother's funeral, were like playing, and it's like it's just the cycle of life. And when things are hard, it's kind of look at kids and see, and that's the child that we want to get going.
Yeah, a lot of these things that we're talking about, like these roles or whatever that are going to try to fall away, or the understanding, those types of things, it's only as we get older that we're told, or that we're imposed upon, that you have to kind of keep it together, that you gotta only show those types of things at a certain time. It can only be expressed at a certain time. And when you're playing, there is a manner in which anger, resentment, guilt, shame, all of those things can come out without you having to verbalize and keep it contained inside of you. You have the ability to play, to throw, to destroy, to rebuild. You have it all there.
Yeah.
But it's you acting out those things that need to come out. And it is very cleansing for kids. It is very, it's their way of organizing that chaos. So when you do have the ability to get out there and play, it's a great thing.
Totally. All right, we'll have to show you, because you said this. Can you read that?
Nobody has their shit together. Right on.
It's a postcard. I got it.
I love it.
And that's going to be our motto. And I think, nobody has their shit together. Anyway, so I think that will conclude our Aries new moon meeting. Feel free to comment below. Anyway, I'm excited about these and all of that. So
And definitely hit up Teresa for your natal chart. Please have
yeah.
her look at it because it's so good. I mean, it is super good, amazing. So
Yeah. And email me. I'm always willing to like sliding scale or whatever. Just if somebody's looking for like a basic synopsis of their chart. And Michelle and I are going to come up with some sort of combination thing. I'm excited about that. So anyway, thank you for stopping by, everybody.
Yeah.
Peace and namaste. Okay.